You know, we talk all the time, but think about it. How often do we actually persuade someone? I mean, really change their mind or get them to take action? It's way harder than it sounds, right? So, what is the secret sauce that turns simple words into real influence? Yeah, that's the big question we're tackling here. Why is it that sometimes you can make a point and it lands perfectly, but other times your best ideas just fall flat? Well, it turns out there's an ancient formula for this, a way to build a bridge from your idea to their action, and it's just as powerful today as it was thousands of years ago. So here's our game plan. We're going to look at the three classic pillars of persuasion: trust, facts, and emotion. We'll break them down and see why each one, believe it or not, isn't quite enough on its own. Then, we'll see how to blend them together perfectly and, most importantly, connect it all to your audience. Okay, first up is ethos. This is all about you, your credibility, your character. So let's ask the question. If your audience trusts you 100%, is that enough to persuade them? Now, here's the absolute key to ethos. It has nothing to do with how credible you think you are. It's all about how the audience perceives you. They have to see you as both trustworthy, like you have good intentions, and competent, meaning you actually know what you're talking about. Let's run a little experiment. Imagine a presenter for ACME Home Safety. This person has rock-solid ethos. They're respected, experienced, known for their honesty. The audience is already on their side before they even open their mouth. But the actual presentation is, well, it's a little vague. It lacks clarity, there's no real data to back anything up. So, what do you think happens? You have a speaker that everyone in the room adores, but a message that's pretty much empty. Well, the audience walks away thinking, wow, what a great, sincere person. They love the speaker. But do they buy the home safety device? Nope, not a chance, because they don't really understand it. See, trust creates a good feeling, but it doesn't get people to act all by itself. All right, so trust alone doesn't cut it. So what's the next logical step? Well, logos, of course. Logic and reason. If we just present all the facts and data, that has to work, right? Logos is the substance. It's the show me the proof part of any argument. Your message has to be built on a solid foundation of clear arguments and supporting evidence. It just has to make sense. Okay, back to our ACME pitch. This time, the presentation is a fortress of logic. It's packed with detailed specs, charts, statistics. The argument is absolutely airtight. Every single claim is supported. But the presenter is a complete unknown, and they deliver it all with zero warmth, zero connection. Just dry facts. So, a perfect argument delivered by a total stranger. Is the audience rushing to the back of the room to buy one? They might be nodding along thinking, that's a really smart product. On an intellectual level, they're sold. But are they motivated? Not really. There's no personal connection. Nothing to flip that switch in their brain from, that's interesting, to, I have to have that. Logic convinces the mind, but it rarely moves the will to act. So we know trust by itself isn't enough, and facts alone aren't enough. So what about the third piece of the puzzle? Pathos. What if we just go straight for the heart and appeal to pure emotion? Pathos is really the engine of persuasion. When you can tap into feelings, whether it's fear or hope or just a deep sense of concern, you can capture attention, make your ideas stick, and create a real sense of urgency. All right, let's head back to ACME one last time. For this pitch, the speaker tells a super dramatic, emotional story of a family in danger. The language is vivid. The audience is on the edge of their seats. They can feel the urgency, maybe even a little fear. But at the end of it all, there's been very little explanation of the actual product and zero evidence. It's all just feeling. The room is absolutely buzzing with emotion. But what happens when the story is over? People are definitely moved. They feel the problem on a deep level, but they're also kind of confused. Like, what am I supposed to do now, and why is this product the answer? That emotional high wears off really fast because it wasn't anchored to anything solid. So, if ethos, logos, and pathos all fail when they're on their own, what's the answer? Well, you've probably figured it out by now. The secret isn't to pick one. It's to blend all three. Let's picture that final, perfect ACME presentation. It starts with our credible, trustworthy speaker. That's ethos. Then, they lay out a clear, logical case for the product with plenty of proof. That's our logos. And they weave it all together with a story that makes the audience feel the importance of home safety. And that, right there, is pathos. And look at how this all comes together. When you combine them, their power doesn't just add up, it multiplies. Ethos gets the audience to trust you and open the door. Logos gives them a clear, logical path to walk through that door. And pathos provides that final, powerful push they need to actually take action. It's a perfect synergy. Okay, so knowing the formula is great, but putting it into practice is what really counts. And the key to it all is starting with your audience and figuring out what they already care about. This brings us to a really important idea called felt needs. These are the things that are already on your audience's mind, the things they're worried about right now. You have to start there. It's like you can't talk about a 20-year retirement plan with someone who's worried about paying next month's rent. You have to address that immediate felt need first. That's how you build a bridge of trust and get their attention. Only then can you guide them to your main point. And you build that bridge using a simple, classic structure. First, an intro that grabs their attention and shows them why this matters to them. That's your pathos and ethos working together. Then, the body of your message, where you lay out your logical points and your proof. That's pure logos. And finally, a conclusion that wraps it all up and gives them a clear call to action. Because in the end, persuasion is just a tool, but it is an incredibly powerful one. When you can skillfully blend your credibility with clear logic and a genuine emotional connection, you can truly move people to act. So the final question really isn't whether this works. It's how will you choose to use it?